I saw that movie 20 goddamn times!
Then you should know Jason's mother, Mrs. Voorhees, was the original killer. Jason didn't show up until the sequel. I'm afraid that was... Well, I'm Mrs. Voorhees.
This is my brutality!
Diving into the accessories with Pamela, she does come with this knife, which does have a nice little side saddle, or holder I should say. I do worry a bit with how they designed it though. I do like the fact that they made it a bit fatter on the where it isn't completely just flush to the leg, because with the sweater it would bend it. But even with that, I feel like if you rotate it this way, obviously it starts to bend it a little bit, so that is something to keep in mind if you do decide to pick this figure up. And if especially if you are the type of person to pose a figure and put it up on the shelf, not just have it standing there, that is something to keep in mind. Besides that, you do get the bow and the arrows. You get 4 arrows with it. I wish it would have kind of came with something to hold the arrows, and I know that she isn't exclusively shown with it, but that's because it's a whodunit. So if she is obviously the killer in the fucking movie. But I wish it would have came with, again, a little thing to hold them and to maybe go on her back or something. Would have been cool. Regardless though, it still is nice that they included this. Does come with some extra hands, obviously the open palm hands. Maybe her slapping the fuck out of someone. The arrow hand, so where she's kind of going like this with the bow and with a little arrow right here. You can fit an arrow in there. I think I showed off a picture earlier with her holding it. It is a little bit of finagling with it. It isn't the easiest thing, but it isn't the hardest thing in the world either. And then she does come with 3 other weapons and an exclusive hand for one of the weapons with this paddle. As you can see, it's pretty obvious that it is exclusively for this. As you can see, it has a tiny little hole, doesn't open anywhere else, and you just kind of stick it in and boom, boom, boom. Get this nice little axe, pretty nicely detailed. I do like the little blood splatter. The machete, which I do kind of wish had a little bit of more blood, but I feel like that's such a simple thing to do yourself that it's real easy. And of course you do get the 3 head scans or extra head scans besides the one she obviously has. I'll put a picture up of her wearing all 3, but all 3 of these head scans are really good. I do in particular like this one the most, this screaming one of the "look what you did to him." You know what I mean? This one in particular, but this one in particular is really, really cool. I do like these ones too. This one's obviously like her being really scared, like right before she's decapitated is what I like to call it. That's the head scan I like to call. Then this is her like just getting ready at Walmart. She's just trying to put on a normal face. And of course we have the one on the figure itself, which is more of like a crazier grin, I think. But besides that, that does it for the accessories. So let's get into the... As far as the detail on this figure goes, I think it's really well done. But I feel like if there was one thing I sort of have to complain about, and some people might call me a perv because of this, but I think they should have maybe gave Pamela more defined breasts. Like, I'm not saying give her freaking mommy milkers, you know what I mean? But I do think she had a bit more breasts in the movie. And I'm not saying giving her triple double D's, but you know what I mean? I think they could have given her a little bit more chest. But besides that though, the sweater is really, really nice. I think it's a little plain in the back. I'm not sure, maybe it was like that in the film though. I do like the detailing on her pants, especially the 2 back pockets. It is obviously relatively plain as far as the pants and stuff go. Not the most crazy detailed thing ever. But yeah, the sweater's really nice. Do like the knife. And how they did the head in particular, as far as with the hair, I feel like they gave it like a black wash to really make all the little individual hairs stand out. It is really, really nice. But yeah, it's beautiful. Now, as far as her scaling goes, it's actually pretty well done. As far as her standing up here next to this Rhea Ripley, believe it or not, they are both actually the same height in real life. And you can see she stands a little bit taller than her, but I could blame that somewhat on the combat boots and her puffy hair, considering this was the 80s. So it scales pretty well, at least with Mattel wrestling figures. Here's her up next to a couple other NECA figures. Obviously, you have her son Jason next to her, scales pretty well. And Lori is actually also 5'7", at least according to Google. So does scale pretty well. Obviously, with other NECA figures, you would expect it to. But yeah. Obviously, her next to this Figma figure, she's a little too tall for the Figma scale, but Figma does run a bit smaller. We have her up here next to some SH Figure Arts, obviously with the Deku and the Goku. Deku's 5'5" in the show, so it makes sense. Goku, I've seen height range from all over the place. If he is supposed to be 5'7", then he should be the same height as Pamela. But again, I can make the excuse of she's wearing combat boots and the puffy ass hair, since it is the 80s that this movie came out in. At least I think it is, if I'm not completely wrong. But yeah, I think it scales okay with this. We have her next up to a Jazzware Francis Ngannou and a Storm's Collectible Mike Tyson. You know, I'd imagine Fama likes maybe to get freaky. Maybe she wants some big...
Pause.
As far as articulation goes, you could pretty much get her into any pose that you would want. Despite her not having really much torso articulation, you can still get her into some rather cool poses. And again, she doesn't have Spider-Man level of articulation, but I wouldn't expect her to. This is an older woman, so I wouldn't expect her to be hitting fucking Spider-Man poses. You know what I mean? One of the ways they could have definitely improved the articulation on this figure is by actually giving it double jointed elbows. I think that's what they're called, because I mean, with this Rhea Ripley, she's around $20-something, and I got this just randomly at Walmart, and you can tell the difference in range in the articulation. And NECA's figures, I think, is around $30-40 now, so I think it's kind of bullshit that they don't offer that. And I do understand that they try and go for more detail than articulation, but to me, it isn't the craziest thing to at least add a double jointed elbow in. I don't think that would completely ruin the whole sculpt, so that is a way that I think they could definitely improve on their articulation in the future. Besides the obvious lack of articulation in the torso, I mean, you can kind of bring it back and forth a little bit, but it isn't as if like you can get the most crazy range. Admittedly, this Rhea Ripley isn't much better. I mean, you can kind of go back with it, but he doesn't go much forward. But considering this figure's like a $20-something figure, and this one's I think around $40, it is kind of crazy that this one arguably has better articulation. It's not even arguably, I think it does just genuinely have better articulation. This one's just a bit more stiff, unfortunately. But yeah. So overall, is this figure worth it? Yes. There are some complaints that I have with it though, as usual. I think they could have improved on the elbow articulation, as I stated earlier. I think they could, of course, improve on the torso articulation altogether. And there's a couple of accessories I kind of wish they threw in. I wish they would have kind of thrown in like a decapitated head, much like they did with some of the other Jasons. The main reason I wish they threw one in with this one in particular is because you might be wondering, well, if they threw it in with the other figure, why would you mind if they didn't throw it with this one? This one, in my opinion, is more like her after a cool minute of her being rotten. You know, not trying to be mean or anything, but this is definitely like her, you know, after a couple of days or so time. I wish they would have just given us like a completely fresh, you know, she just got decapitated by Alice, I think it's the girl who cuts her head off at the end. I think that would have been really cool, especially to, you know, if you were to put the heads right next to each other on a shelf. You know, it's like day one getting decapitated, and it's like day whatever. And I think they've given us more than just this one, if I'm not completely wrong. So it would be cool to see that progression. So I would have liked that. I mentioned that I would have liked a place to put these arrows at instead of having her just hold one. I think it would have been nice if they would have included something for her to especially be able to put onto herself, whether that's, you know, attaching from the shoulder to here or side to side over here to be able to put the arrows in would have been really nice. The bow and arrow itself is kind of nice, but I think it is a little, it's cool, but it's also kind of pointless with the arm, in my opinion, because you cannot have the hand actually hold it like this. It will always just kind of come off. So, I mean, they more included it so you can take photos with it, though, so I can't completely just say it was useless. But overall, I do think the figure is worth it. I think it's really good. I think it's really good as far as the detail. I would recommend just waiting for it to come to stores, though, because the shipping, unless you're going to buy quite a few products, because I'm pretty sure NECA has it where if you buy, I don't know how much stuff as far as the price tag goes, you know, you get free shipping like most places. But unless you're going to put a big order in, I'd recommend just waiting until it comes to stores and buying it there. But I will say, don't slack on this figure. I would buy it right away. The Friday the 13th license has been a big issue. I'm hoping we get more Jason figures, but I could also see them just putting out this figure and then not putting out any more of the Friday the 13th figures. This one was probably easier for them to create because of the whole issue with the licensing of, like, the original director owns the name, but he doesn't own Jason per se because he doesn't own the character. Or he owns the name, it's the name of the character, but he doesn't own, like, the right to the hockey mask or the look of that character. It's a whole weird ordeal, but I don't know if we'll get any more Jason figures. Hopefully this means that we do, but if we don't, we don't. Anyways, though, folks, I've been rambling on for a little too long, so let me get y'all the fuck out of here. Whoop. Really quickly, just wanted to jump in and say rest in peace to Laura Park Lincoln and to Betsy Palmer. I didn't really know about Laura Park Lincoln's passing up until like a day ago. If you don't know who she is, she was actually the person who played as Tina in Friday the 13th. A New Blood, I think, is the film. She was the telekinetic girl. A shame she passed away, I think, 63, which is really young. Man, sucks, but, you know, may she rest in peace. And Betsy Palmer is, of course, the person who played as Pamela Voorhees, and she died back in 2015. So I heard she was a really good person. Heard she was really nice to meet at conventions and stuff. But yeah, same thing. May she rest in peace as well. Alright, y'all, so right before we wrap up this video, I did want to mention again that I am doing a giveaway on these two plushes. I announced it like a video or two ago, but not too many people entered, so I just wanted to mention it again, since that video didn't get that many views as is anyways. Not that I really give that much of a shit about views, but I want to just make sure that everyone, you know, knows about this so they can try and win them if they are interested in it. And if you do know about it and, you know, you don't want to enter, that's cool. Not tripping on it. But just thought I'd mention it just in case someone, you know, would be interested in these. Only thing you got to do is go to my top 10 strangest items in my collections, I think is the video. I'll probably end up updating it and like add plus giveaway in it. But essentially all you got to do is go to that video, comment down what's your favorite scary movie, or I don't know, what's your favorite movie in general if you don't like scary movies. And mention which Ghostface plush you would actually want to win, whether it's this pink zesty one or this traditional black robed Ghostface with the little bloody knife. But yeah. Besides that though, hope y'all are doing well. And as far as the message for today's video, remember to always, you know, shoot for your dreams. You know, don't let people tell you you can't do something, that you're not good enough at something. You know what I mean? Always try. Life is too short not to try. You know, goes by in the blink of an eye sometimes. Swear to God, bro, sometimes I forget how long ago certain things are, and I'm like, God damn, that's scary. But, yeah, hope you are doing well. Hope your pets are doing well. Hope your brothers, your sisters, your mothers, your fathers, your uncles, your sisters, all of them are doing well. Up until next time, I'll catch ya.